Jim Morrison, the Lizard King. Early life and formation. James Douglas Morrison was born on December 8, 1943, in Melbourne, Florida. His father was George Stephen Morrison, a United States Navy officer who would later become an admiral. The family moved frequently due to his father's military career, living in Florida, California, New Mexico, and Virginia. This constant relocation would later influence Morrison's sense of restlessness and search for identity. As a child, Morrison was highly intelligent and showed an early interest in reading, philosophy, and poetry. He was particularly drawn to the works of Friedrich Nietzsche, Arthur Rimbaud, and William Blake. A pivotal moment occurred during a family road trip through the New Mexico desert, when Morrison was just 4 years old. They encountered a car accident involving Native Americans, and Morrison later claimed this experience haunted him throughout his life. UCLA and the birth of the Doors. In 1964, Morrison enrolled at UCLA to study film. It was here that he met Ray Manzarek, a keyboardist who would become his musical partner and lifelong friend. Morrison was fascinated by cinema and wrote several experimental films during his time at UCLA. He graduated in 1965 with a degree in theater arts, but his real passion lay elsewhere. On Venice Beach in the summer of 1965, Morrison encountered Manzarek again. When Morrison recited his poem Moonlight Drive, Manzarek was immediately captivated. They decided to form a band, recruiting guitarist Robbie Krieger and drummer John Dinsmore. The band was named The Doors, inspired by Aldous Huxley's book The Doors of Perception, Rise to Fame. The Doors began performing at small venues on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. Morrison's magnetic stage presence and unpredictable performances quickly drew attention. His deep, resonant voice and poetic lyrics set the band apart from other rock acts of the era. In 1967, they released their self-titled debut album, which included the iconic hit Light My Fire. The song reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, catapulting the band to international fame. Morrison's leather pants, wild hair, and shamanic stage persona made him a rock icon. He was dubbed the Lizard King and became the face of the counterculture movement. The band's music combined rock, blues, jazz, and classical influences with Morrison's dark, introspective poetry. The poet and performer. Morrison saw himself primarily as a poet who happened to perform with a rock band. His lyrics explored themes of death, spirituality, rebellion, and the human condition. Songs like The End, When the Music's Over, and Riders on the Storm showcased his literary abilities. He was heavily influenced by beat poets and often incorporated spoken word elements into performances. Morrison's stage shows became increasingly theatrical and unpredictable. He would often improvise lyrics, tell stories, and challenge audience expectations. His performances were part rock concert, part poetry reading, and part shamanic ritual. This approach both thrilled and sometimes alienated audiences and critics. Controversy and legal troubles. Morrison's rebellious nature and provocative performances often led to controversy. His most notorious incident occurred on March 1, 1969, in Miami. During a concert, Morrison allegedly exposed himself on stage, leading to his arrest on charges of indecent exposure. The incident became a media sensation and overshadowed much of the band's musical achievements. Morrison was eventually convicted in 1970, though he died before serving any prison time. The conviction was posthumously pardoned by the state of Florida in 2010. These legal troubles, combined with his heavy drinking, began to take a toll on his health and creativity. The stress affected both Morrison personally and the Doors as a band. Final years and artistic evolution. By 1970, Morrison was growing tired of his rock star image and wanted to focus more on poetry. He published 2 books of poetry, The Lords and the New Creatures, in 1969, and An American Prayer posthumously. The Doors released Morrison Hotel in 1970, which marked a return to their blues roots. Their final studio album with Morrison, LA Woman, was released in April 1971. The album featured the classic tracks, Love Her Madly, and Riders on the Storm. Morrison was battling alcoholism and was increasingly unreliable during recording sessions. He had grown a beard and gained weight, distancing himself from his earlier image. Despite these challenges, La Woman is considered one of their finest artistic achievements. Paris and death. In March 1971, Morrison moved to Paris with his longtime companion, Pamela Corson. He hoped to escape the pressures of fame and focus on his writing and poetry. Paris represented a fresh start and a chance to rediscover his artistic voice. He spent his time visiting museums, reading, writing, and exploring the city's literary history. Morrison was particularly drawn to the Lachaise Cemetery, where many famous writers were buried. On July 3, 1971, Morrison was found dead in his bathtub at age 27. The official cause of death was listed as heart failure, though no autopsy was performed. His death remained shrouded in mystery, with various theories about what really happened that night. Legacy and influence. Jim Morrison became a member of the infamous 27 Club, alongside Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and Kurt Cobain. His grave at Lachaise Cemetery became a pilgrimage site for fans from around the world. The Doors' music continued to influence generations of musicians across various genres. Morrison's poetry and philosophical writings gained renewed appreciation after his death. Numerous books, documentaries, and films have been made about his life and career. Oliver Stone's 1991 film The Doors introduced Morrison to a new generation of fans. His image as the archetypal rock poet and rebel continues to inspire artists and writers. Morrison's exploration of consciousness, spirituality, and the darker aspects of human nature remains relevant today. He transformed rock music from simple entertainment into a vehicle for serious, artistic, and philosophical expression. Jim Morrison's brief but intense life embodied the spirit of the 1960s counterculture and left an indelible mark on popular culture.